Time for the great Patti Smith. Allez, right?
Yeah, all right. The histories of the universe lie in the sleeping sex of a woman. Now, back in Egypt, the Egyptian Book of the Dead was written because they got these like women that were like, you know, that were before the time after 1852. So like, they got these women and they put them in these like tomb shapes, like mummy shapes, only they didn't mummyize them. What they do is they made this mixture up of opium and salad oil and henna. And they put it all over them. You know, they take, you know, first they'd knock them out with a sledgehammer. Then they'd lay them in there and then they'd wipe them all over with this opiate henna oil. Maybe throw a little murk in, anything they could get in there. And she'd be laid out, and then she'd start like feeling all this stuff getting in her pores, and it would get deeper in her pores and deeper in her pores into her veins, and you know how like the filaments are inside a light bulb when you turn it on, and next thing you know, her fingers are moving Egyptian style. Very rigid, very hieroglyphic. Anyway, she'd do this, and the scribes would be standing around with their papyrus or peanut butter bag wrappers. No, forget that one. They're sitting around with their scrolls, and anyway, she'd start babbling. And she'd start babbling, they'd write this stuff, and then the other girl would start babbling, and then she'd get to this point. Because the thing about men, they do get Mayan, but they only do it once, you know, but like for a little while. But girls, it's just an extra thing we got. You know, you just keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. And it's really great if you're next to a typewriter. Because like, you start, the first one you're doing, and you can't quite write it yet, but you got the plot. And then you you wait, and you only go so far, and you mustn't pee your pants. Then you keep going, and then it's time to lay down on the couch and get out Trokey and anybody else who might be around. And you open up to page 100 on Violette Leduc's Bitch paperback. Then you just keep like getting your fingers going like graphite until it's like a paintbrush and it's making the scene. And then you go, by the 8th or 9th one, you should be writing great stuff on the typewriter. And even if you can't control it, even if you're not like, you know, illuminated enough now to know how to make a diamond, like I didn't know what to do with it for a long time. What you do is, girls, you study Rimbaud, get his syntax and grammar down, study Burroughs, study them all, but then you have to get into the next step. Now, you know in that letter where Rimbaud says, he writes this letter and he goes, you know, in the future when women, you know, get away from their long servitude of men, etc., they're gonna have the new music, new forms, new sensations, new horrors, new spurts. Well, yeah, I mean, it's time. And look, that was 100 years ago. Get cooking. I mean, it was there a long time ago. And who knows where the time goes? It's right now, and that's a formula. It's very easy. Get the syntax down and then just record it. For a while, you might have to record it. Or just do it. And you should see how better you'll walk. And it just does something to your walk. Then, if you can't do anything with it, don't worry about it. Like if you're not into transforming stuff into art, don't worry about it. Just keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. Because by the 12th and 13th and 14th one, you get to extraterrestrial stuff, and they don't let you write nothing down. So you just keep going through it. You know, you just keep. What I was saying is, yeah, Mayan stuff. Guys can do that. You know. I mean, I always was jealous because I wasn't homosexual, you know, because, you know, they got all this Mayan stuff and all the screen stuff, and I'd read all these books, you know, and Blue Jelly and all, you know, this, you know how it is, and I thought, fuck, you know, I can't, you know, and I have these dreams that, like, I could, like, you know, like steal boys' skins at night and put them on and pee and stuff like that. But now that I've, like, found, like, this new toy, this isn't... I got 7 ways of good. 7 sweet disguises, 7 ways of being me. Right here is where I usually tell this story. I usually tell this story. God. I usually tell this story about something that happened to me on one of these particular voyages, but I'll make it real fast. I was expecting to go to my usual stuff with all these weird, these girl boy Muslim Christian angel guys, that have these all these machines, all these neon machines, and they put you in on this pine tree shape. But this time, I don't know how it happened, I got to 16th century Japan. And and the neat thing about it was the first time that I got to really be a boy, and I was like this boy, this ninja boy, this archer, and he was totally in love with a sister who looked just like him. And he wanted to become, he couldn't care for her, he wanted her to have the best, so he became the best archer. And so the king took him as his top archer, and he took his sister to the palace, and the king fell in love with the sister. And the archer who had worked and worked and worked to get his sister fine garments didn't mean to get her fine garments in the king's bed. So when the king sent him out the next day, he was walking through the fields. He had on his armor, and it was black and white squares like a chessboard. He stood on the black square and looked and saw how the black square looked like the back of his sister's hair. He looked at the window shape in the palace, in the castle. He imagined the king over his sister, his black and white sister. He was so dazzled by that photograph that he took off his armor, laid his armor down, and took the dart and named it Swift at the king's heart. And he started walking toward the castle, started walking toward the palace, started walking. He was walking, he was walking, he was walking. In this big step I am taking 7 seizures for the true. I got 7 ways of going, 7 ways of loving you. Be free of all deception, be safe from bodily harm. Love without exception, be a saint in any form. Thank you.